they all are in listen only mode. Okay. Hello, everyone. Those who have joined, I see we have 4 people. Can someone let me know if they can hear me? I've actually unmuted you all, so if you can unmute and tell me whether or not you can hear me.
I can hear you.
Awesome. Perfect. All right. We're expecting about 25, 26, 27 people. Right now, I have 4 of you. So we'll give everybody just a couple more minutes and then we'll get started. I'll talk about some housekeeping items first, but and then we'll get going. I know everybody's Friday afternoon time is precious. So we don't want to keep everybody away from their weekend any longer than we need to. Right. I'm going to give folks 1 more minute and then we're going to get going. I have just under half right now. Okay. We have about half of our registrants, with others just starting to come in online. So I'm going to go ahead and get started. Like I said, I've got all of you unmuted at the moment, but I do have a few slides that I want to present to everyone initially before we get right into our interactive discussion. We were fortunate enough to have some of you log some of your questions ahead of time. So I've taken that opportunity to take some of those because, you know, we all know that if one person has a question, it's probably on the mind of others as well. So I've taken those and I've prepared some responses around that. I also have not scripted this. So this is Jill Lister in the raw. So we'll go with that. We are recording this. It will be made available on our resource center. And I believe we also have Ashley Lytle with us, who is our sales coordinator, who's helping me out. Ashley, I believe we also talked about making this available through social media, didn't we?
Yes, that's correct.
Okay. So Ashley will be helping me out and, you know, maybe fielding some questions that come in as we're going through this. But once we get to the interactive discussion, there's 16 of us. So I think we can open it up and share our thoughts and ideas when we get to that point. So let me just kind of go through some of the things that I've got for you guys. So the first thing I want to start with is some best practice tips when it comes to using the new integrity data feature manager approach to how we are rolling out these features. Okay, we'll go through some pre-submitted questions, like I said, and then we'll get into our interactive discussion. So since we released our year-end release, as well as our mid-year release and our March release with this new approach to how integrity data delivers their solutions, there are some things that we have come across that are very common when it comes to support, and I just want to talk about some of those things. The big ones are things that I can't see any of the menu options for my features. I've run my payroll and my leave accruals didn't calculate. Next one is I can't enter a negative payroll transaction. Why can't I enter a negative deduction? And then there's a series of others as well. And we know that this is not good for anybody who is running payroll, because this, you know, you get that knot in your stomach and it's like, oh my gosh, what's happened? What have I done? So using our feature manager, there are some considerations that you can check on the feature manager to see if there's something in there that is causing those things not to be available. So the first one is if you're a legacy licensing customer, whether or not your expiry date has lapsed. So your expiry date is your annual renewal date, that we update that date once we receive payment for the new year. So if payment hasn't been received, we have not updated that date. And with the new feature manager, the way it works is if you go past that date, it will turn those features off. Okay, so that's one of the first things to check if you lose any of those features. The next one is your employee count. Okay, so it's possible that because you're a legacy licensing customer, there's an active employee count tier that you have selected or you have been paying for over these years. If you've exceeded that employee count, it will also turn those off. And that is combined employees across all companies, except for those that are identified as a test company or a historical company. And that would be the test or historical in the triangular brackets that exist at the end of a company name. We don't count those. Microsoft doesn't count those. we look specifically at the active employee count that is sitting in your UPR 41600 table. Okay, so that's the other consideration. The last one is whether or not your feature has been enabled for the company that you're running payroll in. If you receive a message that says that the feature is not registered, it's likely because the feature, that very unique feature, may not have been flagged as enabled against the company that you're trying to use it in. So again, if you go back to your feature manager, you'll be able to select that feature, and then in the company list down below, you'll be able to see whether or not it's been enabled. So those are sort of the three hot topics and the three most, the three culprits of the menus not appearing and not being able to use them. Okay, so that's the first thing. So what to do if your expiry date has lapsed. So remember, these are for your legacy only customers. So if your expiry date has lapsed, the first thing you should do is contact your partner. Okay, because your partner is the one who we send the invoice to. So and we send those invoices 90 days ahead of the expiry date. Okay, so we give everybody, we believe, ample time to make sure that they have time for their partner to then go and send invoices out to customers. If you're in a bind and you really need to contact us, then contact ID Sales Ops at integritydata.com. Okay, because they are the ones that control the payments. And they will be able to make arrangements with you to get payment or discuss with your partner so that we can get payment. And they're not meanies either. They will likely extend the expiry date for a few days to make those arrangements. Okay, we want to make sure that you can actually use your system and get payroll out the door with the features that you need. So we'll likely extend it by 5 to 7 business days, depending on how easy it is for that to be rectified. Okay. If you have exceeded your employee count, and it truly is because you have exceeded your employee count, meaning you're growing as an organization, you've added new employee records, and you've just kind of gone over that threshold, then again, probably the best place to start is with your partner. And then your partner can contact us to increase your tier level. All right. If you can't get a hold of your partner, you can also contact support at integrity-data.com, and one of our customer success advocates or a customer success manager can work with you and your partner also to talk about increasing it, or maybe looking at moving to our per employee per month and moving over to a monthly subscription, which is actually what quite a few of our customers are doing now, because as they grow, if they're on a monthly subscription, they never have to worry about either of those two things. One, the expiry date, and number two, the employee count. Because our monthly subscription takes that into consideration. There's no expiry date, and you can have as many employees as you need. Okay, so you'll never get caught with those two things, turning something off. Okay. The next one is to inactivate employees where necessary, and you're likely familiar with that. As well, sometimes the UPR 41600 table does get a little out of kilter, and there are ways to refresh that so that it will update the actual employee count in GP, which is a Microsoft table, and it will kind of reestablish your employee count with us, and then it will turn those, turn those features back on for you. Okay. And the last one, again, we talked about just a few minutes ago, is that if the feature has not been enabled for the company, and this goes for both different types of licenses. So this applies to not only the legacy customers, but also the monthly subscription customers. So even the monthly subscription customers need to have the feature enabled in the companies that they're going to be using it for. Okay, so there needs to be a checkbox in that window for that company. All right, so the first question that we got was, our partner told us not to worry since it does not apply to us. I don't believe that is true. What should I do? So the first thing that we're advising people to do is to look at your setup and configuration of your payroll extensions features. If there are elements that exist, then you are likely using them. So the payroll extensions includes the deductions and arrears, payroll integration to payables, and overtime rate manager. So each one of those three items has a setup and configuration that is required to use them, and the menu options are available on the setup menu. If you open any of those, with the exception of deductions and arrears would be a flag on the deduction code that would be enabled or marked. And if any of those are enabled or marked, well, chances are you're using that feature. Okay. So if you are using any of those features, then it does apply to you. And that means that when you do your year-end update and you go to install the integrity data solutions, you will need to use the standard plus version of the download so that you get those features added to your environment. Okay. I've put a link in here to our resource center where all of the webcasts that we've done over the last couple of weeks, as well as additional content as it relates to the feature manager, the customer registration, all of that is in that one central location. So, and we can take a look at that if we have some time, and I'll show you where that is. Also check partner source, which is something that your partner may have to do if you don't have access to customer source. If extended pack is registered, then you are likely using the advanced payroll, advanced HR, or PTO manager. So we need to know about those ones also. So that's how you can tell if you're using those. Okay. The next question that we got was that I have completed the registration. Will Integrity be communicating with our partner directly? So the answer to that is no, we will not communicate with your partner, because we've also had partners provide details of their customer registration directly to us that we have been updating over time. So for any partners that are on the phone right now, thank you for putting those in. It makes our jobs that much easier. And for those customers who have registered, thank you also for doing that. If you haven't done so already, please do that before you do the year-end update so that you don't run into any delays. We are sending out a welcome email to the customer. So there's two contacts that we have for the customers. One is a billing contact, the other one is a payroll contact. So the billing contact will receive an email from our operations team, ID Sales Ops, welcoming you to the Integrity Data family. And the payroll contact will receive an email also from customer success that will describe some of the next steps. Like, again, welcome to the Integrity Data family. Here is what needs to happen next so that you can start using these features. Okay, so if you're from our customer side and you're either of those two contacts, then once you register, you will get those emails from us. Okay. Anybody who is working with a partner, your partner will also know, so it doesn't hurt to contact your partner and let them know that you've registered, and they will be also familiar with what the next steps are. Okay. The next question we had was, did GP clients need to pay for a new patch from Integrity Data? So no, software updates are actually included in your annual renewal. or your monthly subscription. So there's no additional charge for the actual update itself. It's the features themselves that are subject to fees. So there are, all of our different features have a different cost associated with them. Again, those that are legacy would know based on their annual renewal what the cost is for those features, and the ones that are on a monthly subscription, there's a fee per employee per month, except for those 3 features that were included in Payroll Extensions that I've mentioned. So those were offered at no charge through Microsoft. They are no charge through Integrity Data. Okay, so we're not charging for those. And those that are using PTO Manager, Advanced HR, or Advanced Payroll, the fees that we're charging for those are the same as what the fees were for Microsoft. So there's no change to any of the fees for any of these newly acquired features that we've taken over. Okay. I seem to have several advanced payroll HR messages with the product returns an error not registered. So this usually happens again when you're trying to access the windows for that feature, and looking again at the feature manager window to confirm that the company has been checked as enabled. That seems to be where we're getting that message the most, is that the company just has not been enabled for that feature. Okay, and you do have to turn on each feature individually. There's no mark all. So you'll have to select the feature, make sure you select the companies down below. Okay. One thing I do want to actually mention, and maybe now is a good time to mention that, is all of our features are available right out of the box without enabling it if you're using Fabricam. If any of your customers or any of the customers actually have a Fabricam database, as soon as you install our Integrity Data installer, it will add all of the features to Fabricam. If you want to use it in a test or historical company, you can use that, and we will not be charging you for that, but they do still need to be enabled. So you can pick any of the features. There might be features there that you're not using or not aware of. You can select those and enable those in a test company, and you can go and play around with them and see if they're applicable to your organization. And then if you want to turn it on, that's the nice thing about being on a monthly subscription. You can turn these on and off whenever you want in your live production environments and start using them. Okay, so play around with them, see what's available, see if it's going to work, see if it's applicable, and then when you're ready to put it in your production environment, it's just a matter of enabling it in those companies. Alrighty. Last question we got was, are there any updates for GP version 18.5? Yes. Integrity Data, for those of you who may be new customers, Integrity Data does a compatibility release for every version and build that Microsoft does. So every time Microsoft releases a new build, we do a compatibility release that is compatible with that build and version. So right now on our website, what you would find is compatibility version for the March and mid-year 2022 on version 18.4. You will find a download for that. There is a download for the Microsoft October release, which I think was 18.5.1556. And our year-end release is now available. It was posted up on Tuesday, and it is there also. Okay, so that's what I wanted to present to you ahead of time, so we can jump into our live discussion. Let me just take a look at questions here. And I'm just going to unlock that. Okay, so the first question was, will the recording be sent out to registrants? Yes. The recording will be sent out. Also, it will be posted on our resource center and available through social media. So lots of ways to get that. All right. I thought GP now had unlimited employee count. Yes, that is correct. GP has an unlimited employee count. Integrity Data still licenses products based on a tier. Okay, so do keep that in mind. As more and more, anybody who adds a new feature or new customers who come on board now, we are adding them as a monthly subscription customer. So there is no need for tiers for those customers, but the other customers that we have, we're grandfathering them, we're leaving them on the legacy licensing. So until we get everybody moved over, there will still be tiers involved in ours, and our pricing is based on the tier. Okay. Where do we check for the registration checkbox? That was from Levon. Levon, if you can unmute yourself, maybe can you just clarify what you mean by registration checkbox? I'm thinking you mean the company, registering it for the company. Is that
I
what
believe so. So earlier in your discussion, you were saying it's a checkbox. So I'm familiar with going into administration and registration and then checking like, okay, does somebody have sales order processing, inventory and such? So is that
Gotcha.
the place you're referring to?
Let me just jump out of, I'm just going to jump out of this slide presentation for a second, and I will show you what I mean in GP. Okay, so we have sort of our own little registration window. We call it the feature manager window. And that's on the system setup menu. So if you go to Microsoft Dynamics GP and go to Tools, Setup, System, right down at the bottom is the Integrity Data Payroll Feature Manager window. Okay, so when I talk about enabling it for a company, this.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I haven't seen this one. Okay, I'll look for that.
Yeah, no, it's I like to call it, I kind of started calling it our integrity data control panel. So essentially, this is where you're turning features on and off. And if you didn't get a chance to watch it, and I do apologize, we were trying to get this particular webcast out earlier in the week, but for lots of various reasons, it didn't get sent out until late on Wednesday. So you may not have had a chance to watch webcast number 2, where I spoke very specifically about how this window works. So the Resource Center has that webcast. It's 22 minutes. It's worth a boo. There's also a document that we've put together with sort of the regular frequently asked questions that we're getting around how this window works. But essentially, this is what I mean. So if you pick a feature, you've got Comprehensive Leave Manager here. This is the feature that's selected. These are the companies that I'm turning it on for. Okay.
Thank you.
You're welcome. All right, so what was the next one here? So how do we know how many employees we have? Okay, so good question. If we go back to GP, your employee counts are going to be available through your About Microsoft Dynamics GP. This here will give you the number of current active employees across all databases, production databases, not test, not historical, not Fabricam. Okay, so that will be the total. And that is what our tiers are based on. Now, if you want to see what you have in each company, if we go back to our feature manager window, our feature manager window will actually break it down by company for you as well. Let's leave this open. So down here, you'll see company and you'll see billing employees over here. Okay, so you'll be able to see the total number of billing employees by company with a total down here at the bottom. So this total here should match what you see on the About Dynamics GP. Okay, and you can get to it from here as well.
Will this take into account then if I do have a duplicate of my database and I put the word test in the
Company name?
company name, then that becomes, it doesn't count those, right? When I have
Correct.
test as part of the name, company name, okay.
Correct. Yeah. Now it has to be that test in those brackets has to be at the end of the company.
End of it. Oh, okay.
Yeah.
That was gonna be mine. I was like, is it the
Yeah, it
beginning
can't
or
be
the
at
end?
the beginning or anywhere
Yeah.
else. Very
Okay.
specific. It needs to be at the end. But yes,
Okay.
you're correct, Linda, that if you have it there, it doesn't get counted in this number. Okay. All right. Okay, so, okay, so you just clarified that question. Yeah. So are you good, Linda, on that then?
Yeah.
Okay, excellent. All right. Are there any other questions? I'll open it up to the floor now. Those are the questions that are coming in through the chat. So does anybody have any other questions? So let me see. Can you see my Integrity Data Resource Center screen?
Yes.
Yes? Okay.
Mhm.
All right. So our integrity, I'm just going to go to our homepage first of all. So when you come into the Integrity Data homepage, the downloads are still here on our Resources tab. Download GP software. Okay, so all of the versions that I had talked about earlier in the presentation are all here, starting with the most recent on the top. Okay, so there's the GP 2018 year-end release. When you look at these download pages, so remember, Standard Plus is for those customers who are using those OEM features that were originally with Microsoft and now they're being offered by us. So if you click on that page, here's your download files here. Scroll down, and this is where you've got your install guide, your FAQs, your year-end release notes, and a link to the user guides. Okay, so those are all from this page. If you're using Email Suite and you still need the Email Suite add-on, it is also here on this page, okay? But you do have to scroll down. I know it's not pretty. We're trying to make some changes to the way that content is available on our website, but it is there. Then we have our Resource Center. So our Resource Center right now, and Ashley, correct me if I'm wrong, but it is wide open. It is not gated. It is open to anybody who needs it. You do not need a login and a password to get here.
I believe that is correct.
Correct. Okay. So our Resource Center has been organized into our HRP for Business Central, HRP for GP, and ACA compliance. In our HRP for GP, we have our knowledge base, our user guides, we have brochures, we have year-end documentation, and we have this part here, which is our HR and Payroll Suite module updates. So this is where the content for all of this year-end changeover, well, actually the whole Microsoft to Integrity Data transition is being captured. So this presentation will get posted up here as well. And I actually have another document that I'll be posting either later today or Monday, or if Ashley's kind enough, she can get it up there today for me, which is all about how do I know if I'm using these features. So we've actually put together a little, just a little summary of where to go to look for what you need to find out whether or not a customer is using them. But this is the page that you want to go to. The thing about our Resource Center is if you want to take a look at all the knowledge base articles also, we've organized these by feature. So there's a whole plethora of content up here that relates to all of our features. Oh, that's the wrong one. I want to be in GP. Sorry about that. I'm like, where did everything go? Here we go. Okay, so email suite, comprehensive lead manager, negative payroll, negative deductions, lots of knowledge-based articles here. If you're looking for something specific, we get a lot of questions about email suite. So if I just go in here in the search and just put in email, it's going to return to me a list of all of the content that is in the Resource Center that relates to email suite. Okay, so things like, you know, how do I import email addresses if you're implementing email suite for the first time? You know, what happens? Why can't I send it? Why am I getting this failure to send message? All of that content is available here on our Resource Center. So my recommendation is, if you're having an issue with a customer, is to check the Resource Center first for content that is related to the issue that you're having, because chances are you will find it. Okay. If you cannot and you need to put in a support ticket, use the support portal. Okay, so that's here on the support button here. Again, scroll down, but it is here. This is the best way to contact us. So if you fill this out and submit this, this will automatically create a case in our CRM system that our customer success advocate looks at like all throughout the day, and she will assign it to the right resource, which on the GP side right now, as most of you know, is me. So I am the sole GP support analyst right now. So you can imagine, and I think you all know that year end gets really, really busy. So I have to rope in other resources where required. But we do try to field them as much as possible. But if there's information on the Resource Center, I would just recommend going there first, because chances are you might get an answer faster than if you wait for me. But fill this out. When you're filling this out, if you can provide as much information as possible, like screenshots of error messages, any type of information message that you're getting, where you are in the system when that happens, are you logged in as SA or a user, just those kinds of things that help us answer those questions a lot faster. All right. So that's our support page. And then I think most of us are familiar with the Dynamics communities and Microsoft. So if you haven't watched the first two webcasts, Microsoft is still supporting the core GP and core GP payroll and HR, because that still belongs to them. We are supporting you from those advanced extended pack features and the payroll extensions, as well as our existing features. So those will still be supported. And that will take effect once you install our integrity data dictionaries. Okay, and the dictionaries are all outlined in that installation guide. There's a chart in there that describes all the dictionaries and the product IDs, which have not changed. So we still have the same product IDs that Microsoft has. So for example, the HRM SS dictionary is still product ID 1911. The only thing that we see that's different is the version number is going to be different. Okay, it will be our version. Now, that doesn't mean that if you're stuck and you by mistake, or a customer by mistake submits a support ticket into Microsoft, they will continue to support you. You know, they're not going to say, no, sorry, I'm not supporting you. They will support you until March of 2023. Okay. Any questions on that? No, I hear no one. Okay. We have a product manager now for GP. We are very much interested in your feedback for any product. whether that be the feature manager, whether it be for any of the individual features. If you have ideas of how you would like to see things change or improve or add to it, please use our product feedback form. We're really interested in knowing. I have lots of ideas and I forward them over to our product team all the time. But it's nice to get feedback and input directly from the people who are using this. So again, please fill out this form and send it back, and it'll go directly to our product manager, who will likely even reply to you if he's got more questions, because he very much wants to see some improvements made around this. Some of the things,
because I probably do, yeah, on the overtime calc thing, so I can.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Good.
Yeah. Yeah.
Thank you.
So yeah, absolutely. Anything that you think of, if there are things that you've used historically for even those ones that have recently come back to us, yes, put those in there, because we developed them, but we developed them for Microsoft. So we were designing them the way they wanted us to design them. But that doesn't necessarily mean that things can't change and that we can't improve things. Some of the things that I know that we have talked about that are going to be coming sooner rather than later are on the feature manager window, or just the way that works, especially with the expiry dates and the employee counts, is giving users a notification ahead of time. So for example, with expiry dates, we will probably add a notification that pops up that says, hey, this feature or one of your features is set to expire in 30 days. So it's just, again, it's a visual, it's a prompt, so that users are aware that something is going to happen that could take that feature away from them or disable it. Same with the employee counts. You're about to approach your tier for those that are on the legacy annual renewals. You're about to approach your tier with your employee count. Please double check to see if this is valid. Do you need to increase? What do you need to do? So we're actually looking at adding some of those enhancements in an upcoming release. It's not in this one because we will not put new features ever in the year-end release. Our year-end release will always only be a compatibility release with Microsoft. It just keeps it cleaner that way. Okay. All right. Anything else? Any other questions? Is there anything that you want me to go over that I haven't with the time that we have left?
I'm currently scheduling with my partner to do my 18.5.
Okay.
I'm going to remind them that I have advanced payroll and advanced HR, so
Okay.
that they come over to your website and get the right versions.
Sure. Can you share with me who your partner is?
Warren Everett, Technology Group.
Okay. I think they've already submitted all of their customers. So
okay.
if you want to share with me, if you want to send me an email, send me an email and I can follow up. It's jlister@integrity-data.com.
Lister.
That's right. Yeah.
Okay. All right.
Yeah. Send me an email. I can check your account and I can see if you're good to go. Like I said, a lot of our partners have submitted. There's a few stragglers that have not. And we're starting to catch up on those. Well, actually, we're starting to catch them because they're now doing the install of the year-end update and they're realizing that they don't have the features that they need. So yeah, it's starting to catch up, which is good. All right. Did you guys find this helpful?
Yeah, especially
Yes.
going in and checking where these registration things are, because I'm like, where is that?
Is this something that you want to see more of?
Tips and tricks on different modules.
Tips and
Because
tricks on different
yeah,
modules. Yeah.
because we have
Okay.
advanced HR and payroll. There's
Yeah.
just looking at that screen, I'm like, oh, maybe that one. Yeah.
Well,
Yeah.
and yeah, and as a consultant, you know, it's kind of like, hey, you guys, all we have to do is turn this on. Here's all these great new features. But a lot of us, you know, we don't quite know exactly what all your new features do. So yeah, it would be
Okay.
kind of nice.
Okay. Yeah, I've been thinking sort of in my own mind how we make this easier and, you know, get folks using these features, because, you know, we didn't design them just because. We designed them for a need, and we would have designed them, you know, way back when, because there was a need, and they are, you know, we call them super cool. we're kind of in love with them. So I have actually been thinking about how to communicate some of those things a little bit better. And I think just, you know, just shout out a little bit. Do you prefer a live presentation like this, or would you be keen on maybe a webcast, like a feature of the month or something like that? What does everybody prefer?
I like live because then I can ask you the questions.
Right.
Okay.
I was going to say the same thing. I've watched a few of the other ones and it's like, oh, but what about? So, but yeah,
Okay.
you know, even if you send out like a poll to us, you know,
Yeah.
users, a poll, which, and well, instead of lunch and learn, maybe that's another term.
Yeah. Okay.
What lunch and learn module or feature do you want to look at? You know, and then from that poll, because definitely there's a lot of stuff in there that's like, what does that one
There
do?
is.
And
Yeah,
the
there
and the
is.
descriptions, like the other lady, you know, PTO manager, thinking it was the same as another module. Or another,
Correct.
you
Yep.
know, so.
Yep. No, that's a very good point. No, that's good feedback. I like that. Ashley, are you listening?
Yep, taking notes.
Crash.
Taking notes.
on her.
Yeah, I kind of think if we could do that, it would be nice to do, like she's referring to as a lunch and learn, even though we're probably all in entirely different time zones. It's kind of like, hey, at least
Yeah.
once a month or whatever, let's go talk about X. And if they're interested in, you know, because I mean, we love the PTO Manager, and maybe the other product is even better. So, you know.
Yes, we're a little partial to Comprehensive Leave Manager just because it is a lot more comprehensive. PTO Manager does its job though, where it fits. It absolutely does the job. I'm working with a customer right now on PTO Manager, so it's good. But yeah, that's good feedback. We'll definitely take that into consideration when we get over this year-end hurdle. We're actually starting to do our planning for 2023. So it's one of those things that I think I'd like to kind of put on our plan for next year. So I like that idea. Thank you. Anything else that anybody else has? I'm hearing nothing, so thinking you guys are good. All right. Okay, well, if that's the case, I think we can wrap this up. And yeah, for sure. If you guys have questions, use those links and those email addresses that I gave you. Go and check out the Resource Center. I'm going to be putting a whole bunch of stuff up there over the next little while, and we add KB articles to that fairly regularly. The lady who organizes or manages our Resource Center, we've been talking about some ideas for that as well, in terms of, you know, maybe pushing out a notification to say, hey, here's some new KB articles that have been added to the Resource Center this month, so that you can access those where you need to or know that they're there, and do like a little what's new, here's what's coming up. All of those things we're looking at doing some improvements for over the next year. Okay, so lots of changes going on at Integrity Data to help everybody do things better and get access to information faster. Okay.
Jill, it looks good. As
Good.
always, thanks for your help.
No problem. Thanks for everybody's feedback, and thank you all for attending. we'll make this available. And if I don't talk to any of you over the next few weeks, have a wonderful holiday.
Thank you.
Okay.
Thanks.
Thanks, everyone.